So, hello, welcome back to another stream, and today we're going to talk about the Parkinson's law. The Parkinson's law actually being something that I've been researching before. I knew about it before, but yesterday I was, as I was doing a bit more research, a bit more of just, thinking about it, researching it, reading about it, I came to certain conclusions and I came to certain thoughts that I didn't think about before. So probably and definitely there are 2, 3, 4, 5 videos out there already done by myself that are about the Parkinson's law, but today I really want to go a bit into a bit of a different area that I have found that this law is actually also pretty important for. I think that as a thought process it is basically applicable to whatever you're doing, and therefore it is extremely valuable, at least from my point of view. So what does the Parkinson's law actually say or state or whatever? Of course there are various different variations of it in terms of wording. In the end they all mean the same, but still. Work expands to fill the time available. Which means if you're having a lot of time to do something, you are probably going to use up all of it. All the time that you're having available for a specific task is going to be used fully. Which also means that the more time you have, the more you're also going to use it. So on the other hand, and this is the whole thought process, restricting time and what would it look like to finish this in a very short time or period of time. So whatever you're doing, by asking yourself, how could I possibly be able to do this in a way shorter period of time? How could I do it? And most often we find ourselves thinking about the importance of the various factors of this certain task. So for example, when it comes to producing this video, producing this podcast, what is important and what isn't important, and one has to really define that and figure that out, which is highly subjective on one hand and highly contextualized, because for my podcast, for my work, for myself, something might be important that is really unimportant for some other people and their work. On the other hand, there's also the consumer. What is important for the consumer? In the really end, I would actually say that one should always go for the consumer and one should always think about the consumer, because in the end, I myself, I'm not watching my own stuff. I'm not consuming my own stuff. But somebody that is out there, somebody that is, maybe searching for this particular video, searching for another video, what are they searching for? What is important for them? And how can I achieve the best results in these important factors in that of a short period of time? How can I do so? What do I have to do? And in the end, we might come to certain conclusions like, okay, an 80-20 analysis might be pretty good, to first of all figure out what is important. And or the Pareto principle, which is the same as the 80-20 principle or the 80-20 analysis. And how short of a time can it be? Is an hour realistic? Is 2 hours realistic? Is 3 hours realistic? Is maybe even 10 minutes realistic? There was actually, as far as I remember, the founder of IKEA said that he's only doing things in 10-minute increments. And it is astonishing how much time you're actually having if you really work hard to not waste any of those 10-minute increments. For example. Another thought that, is a bit more to the philosophical side, I guess, but still incredibly interesting and incredibly important, and just shows how, in what various ways you can use Parkinson's law. A short life, what to do? We all have a short life. So what are the really important pieces of the life that I'm having? What is really important about what I'm doing on a daily basis? And then, since I know that my time on this planet, my time on planet Earth is restricted, I'm not going to be here forever, I'm going to only do those things because those things are important ... to me. Of course, for you there might be some different things that are important for you, and for me there are different things important that are not important for you. But since we're having such a short life, what should we focus on? What should we really do? What is important? And in the end, I guess most people come to the conclusion that relationships are really important. And one should always view those answers in various different lights. For example, relationships, there are different kinds of relationships. There are relationships that I just need for myself to stay healthy, be healthy, feel healthy. On the other hand, there's also work relationships. Of course, one could also argue those work relationships, they give me the ability to be happy and healthy and whatnot, because of the money, I'm talking rather about some entrepreneurial circles kind of, to illustrate it better. Of course, on the other hand, having good relationships at work, if you're just an employee, is also really important, because you need to enjoy the time that you're spending there. And at least at my point of view, and for me, the people are a really big factor. So we all have a short life. What is important and what should we focus on, and what should really be ignored? But of course, it is not actually useful to be unrealistic about the time increments, about the time we actually need for doing X, Y, or Z. And on the other hand, risking a disaster is also not really smart. We all know that, the more you do something, the more you have a feeling for how long it takes. Of course, we're still gonna just do things for an extended period of time if we have the time available. But we do just have a slightly better feeling of whether something is realistic or isn't. And so it really does make sense, and also it's really important to just not be completely unrealistic and potentially, well, on one hand drive yourself crazy, which is part of the next point that I'm willing to make, which is also very important, but also on the other hand to ensure that the result is somewhat good and it is not a complete disaster. More time, less effort, and vice versa. The more time you have, the less effort you have to actually, need to put into the work that you're doing to achieve a certain result, which I think we all know. If we're having a lot of time left, it is not very stressful. We can just, do things, and it is fine in the end, But on the other hand, if we just really have a small period of time, it is really stressful and whatnot. It just feels way more effortless. It feels like we need to put in way more effort than it might actually also be the case. So in the real end, when it comes to Parkinson's law, and this is the final thought of this episode, the self-awareness is crucial. Self-awareness, and which also includes, as I said before, awareness for how long certain things should take and could take. But yeah, with that being said, I do hope that I've been able to get you closer to an idea of the Parkinson's law and how you could be using it. And I would really, really, really suggest you to use it, to try that out, this thought experiment, because it is nothing more and nothing less than a thought experiment. But yeah, with that being said, bye-bye.